All right, so as you know, the final reports were due yesterday, Friday, and as of now, we have received almost 1,000 submissions. What we're doing now is going through them, cleaning the submissions, renaming them, even though the instructions said that the report name should be the team number, but some teams would still put, for example, final report for the file name. And so we now have to open the file, see on the title page what the team number was, relabel it. In fact, since you're here, let me briefly show you what it looks like. This is the file where we have all the reports. And so we download them regularly. And as you see, we have a bunch of submissions. And so some of the file names are fine, like team 12, 13, 14, and so on and so on. But some are strange. Like, for example, here we have comma 597. We don't know what that is. This one, for example, dot, dot. So it's team 73 apparently. So we have to manually relabel all of this and clean it up. And so we probably will be done by the end of the day today with all the submissions. So as you see, team 500, 600, 700. So most of them seem to be here, 800. But then we have, for example, team 1, 2, 3, 4. And we have no idea what that is. It seems like it's actually team 428. And so what we'll do, my assistant is going through this right now and literally changing the file names like this. And so we changed the name and we got it right. So, but in any case, we have the submissions, yeah, and then some of them have, as you see, strange names, like the name of the person who was submitting the report. Lauren Palermo, for example, final draft. So how do we know what it is? Well, it's team 554. So anyway, it will be another day or two before the professors are able to start recording, reviewing the webinars, the reports and grading them. But if everything goes fine, we will be done by the end of the day. And then it will probably take about a week for the professors, maybe more like 10 days, to evaluate each report. And as you know, each report will be evaluated by 3, 5, 6 professors. And then once we have those evaluations, we will be able to proceed with selecting the best teams. However, there are a few more things that you guys need to do. One, you still need to do presentations for your client companies. Probably next weekend, Saturday. I'm still getting the confirmations from the clients. I know that Finnish Schools International has confirmed that they are available this same time, so Saturday, tomorrow, a week from now. But I haven't heard the final confirmation from InnoSpark. But once we have the dates confirmed, what we would like to do is we would like each team to present your work to the client directly. So in addition to the evaluations of the reports by the professors, we hope you will also be able to present your work live in a conference to the clients and then get some feedback on your work directly there. And so that will be, on the one hand, a good opportunity for the client to see what you guys have done, what proposals you came up with, what wonderful marketing strategies you have developed, and ideas for the best school or the best toys. But also they will be able to ask questions. If something is not clear, they will be able to get more details in case you forgot to put something in the paper. And then you also have more time to prepare. So whatever you have on paper now, as you will be preparing for this presentation next week, you still have some time to refine some of those ideas. For you, why it's very important is because it is a great opportunity for you to practice public speaking, to practice your presentation skills. In your life, in school, at work, you will have to present a lot. And in many cases, the ideas that get selected, promoted, funded, praised are not necessarily the best ideas. They are usually the ideas that are presented the best. So simply having a great idea for a paper, a great idea for a business, for example, is not always enough to win. You have to be able to communicate it in a way that the client, the investor, the employer, your boss is impressed. And so it's important that you practice. So presentation skills are teachable, learnable. So it's not something that you're just born with. You have to practice, and so this is your opportunity. So we will do a little bit more preparation for presentations, and I will give you more instructions for how to do it well. But yes, basically we will have a teleconference just like this one, and we will have the client on the line, and your job will be to share with the client what you proposed. So you will say, for example, for our dream school, we did this research and this is what we found. And based on our research, we recommend that the dream school looks like this. And you can show pictures and stuff. And then we did some analysis where a school like this would be opened. And for example, we decided that the United Kingdom is the best market. And you describe a little bit the United Kingdom and basically say the things that you have in the report. You may have to prepare this as a team. And so it may be one person who is presenting, or maybe it will be several people who are talking, but you basically do the presentation and practice that skill. It doesn't have to be perfect. So it just, you just do your best and see what happens. Another thing that you would like to do, or that we would like you to do, is record a presentation and basically send us a video. In the live session, some things can go wrong. You can't really change them later on. You have to rush because you have to be done at a specific time and be done within whatever time you are allocated. But we also would like you to record a video. And you can do it again individually or as a team. And then send us the video file. Again, I will send you a little bit more instructions for how to do it. And so that's the video that you can use for your portfolio. When you will be applying for, scholarships, going to better private schools, for example, you want to show them a portfolio of what you can. And so that video can be added to your portfolio, and you can say, not only did I prepare a presentation for a company, but here is also a video. See how well I can present, how well I can talk, how well I can articulate my ideas. So we'll do that as well. And then finally, and probably most importantly, we would like you to write a paper in which you will reflect on and describe your experiences in Xculture. And it can be something as simple as simply saying that this is what happened, and this is what I did, and this is how it went. But ideally, we would like you to also discuss it. Come here. Yeah. But ideally, we would like you to also tell us what you have learned and what you would do differently if you had to participate in a team project again. So that paper doesn't have to be long. It can be 1 page, maybe 3 pages, depending on how long you would like to go. You can maybe even make it longer if you have copies of your maybe correspondence of your team members. With your team members, maybe you have some photos of your teleconferences. You can include it all in it. But the important thing here is for you to think about what you have learned through this experience. Not only describe what happened, but think what you have learned and what you would do differently if you had to do it again. Maybe you realize that you did not communicate enough, and you think if you had to work in a team again, you would communicate more. Or maybe you learned that using, for example, Google Docs is the best way to edit documents as a team. Or maybe you realized it's not the best way. Maybe next time you would like to use Dropbox. Maybe it is better. So whatever you learned, that's what you put in the paper. And again, there are several important reasons for that requirement, why we want you to write a paper. First, this is how you learn. So if you simply do something, it does help. It does help a lot. But when you think about it, that's when the actual learning is happening. Second, again, your portfolio. So again, you will be applying soon for college, for scholarships, for private schools, maybe even for jobs. And you would like to show your employer or the admissions committee that you're better than all the other applicants. How do you show it? Well, you show your work. And so you will present, among other things, your paper, and you will say, you know what, I have completed this wonderful project with people from 5 different countries, or 4 different countries. And we worked for this company called, whatever the name of the company, Finnish Schools International or InnoSpark. And you know what? And now I'm a more skilled team member, and I'm a more skilled business consultant. And as a proof, you can read my paper here. This is what I learned about my experience. This is what I learned about being a member of a team, solving business problems for a company. Look at it. Nobody else who applied for the scholarship has something like this. Read it and you will know that I'm much better, and I deserve this stipend more than others, or I deserve this job more than others. So we would like you to have that in your portfolio because, as I said, it will help you get better opportunities in life. And so we will spend the month of May on presentations, papers, and so we will rehearse a little bit. We will do it together. And yeah, and that's basically will be, the end of the project. And then at the end of May, once we're done with all of these post-project activities, you will receive a certificate. It will look something like this. Yes, it will be just in a nice folder. and then you will also receive your recommendation letter, as well as feedback on your both the report that you submitted as a team, the reflection paper that you will write individually, and then the presentation that you will do for your client, as well as the recording of the presentation if you do that also individually. So that's basically the plan for the next 4 weeks. Any questions? All right. Yes, Mr. Lasky? Yes, please.
Yes, hello. Recently I received a mail from Xculture, and I have a question about certificates.
About what?
Certificates.
Yes.
It's about, yes. As I understood, all instructors should have now received electronic certificates for their students.
Yes.
For their students. But I haven't received them yet.
Can you please send me an email about that, so I will contact my IT personnel and ask them to resend it. So it must have been either a mistake. What happens sometimes, and we do have that from time to time, because it's a big PDF attachment, sometimes the file may not go through, or sometimes the email server flags it as spam. They think that it's somebody sending you some malicious, emails. And so sometimes it goes in your spam, and sometimes it just doesn't go through at all. So if you please send me an email about that so I don't forget, we will make sure to resend it to you. Maybe we'll send a link to Dropbox or do it some other way. But yes, but with the certificates, especially with teachers, and we have several teachers who participate with the children as well, we send certificate twice. One, you will receive a batch of certificates in a PDF file for the whole class. Let's say you have 20 students, you'll get 20 certificates, and you can print them, and then you can distribute them in class to the students. For example, in my class, Sophia, can you please bring that box of certificates on the window there, by the entrance door? So I have almost, I personally have about 100 students, but we have 2 more professors from my university who participate in the project, and we have a total of 325 students from the University of North Carolina. And so we will have a big event on Tuesday. Thank you, Sophia. So what I did, I ordered the print of certificates. That's, the box. I ordered the print of the certificates online, and they have just arrived. And so I have them all here. And we will have a big event on Tuesday. And so we will have like a big ceremony, and the students will receive the certificates on Tuesday. We will also add nice folders so that they have, more substantial. And so we will do it on Tuesday. I know that some professors have a very, very big ceremony. In our case, because it's so many, like it will take us half a day just to call the names and give out the papers. But some professors who have smaller classes, like let's say 10, 20 students, they often would have presentations, and so they require that the students do presentations and only then get the certificates. Some also invite school officials, like the dean of the school, or perhaps the president, or whatever the assistant rector. We even had cases when the mayor of the city would attend, and some entrepreneurs would attend those events. So if you can do that, that would be wonderful too. But many students who participate in Xculture take their courses online. So they're never on campus, they never meet face-to-face, they take the courses online. And then the professor has no way to distribute those certificates in person. In cases like this, what happens is they just simply send them out the electronic copies, and that's it. But because some professors cannot, or forget, or for whatever reason, maybe get sick, and cannot distribute those certificates, we also send a personal copy to each student. So that's just for the students' records, just in case they lose the paper copy, or the professor doesn't distribute the paper copies, they still have a printable high-resolution PDF, in which case, if they need it in the future, they can always print it on high-quality paper and add it to the portfolio. So. All right, any other questions? One more update about the symposium. So we have now made the selections, and several of you have applied to participate in the symposium. And to my knowledge, several of you have been accepted. And one of the questions we had was, how do we handle younger participants, because they have to come with the parents? So with the students, college students who are 20, 25, 30 years old, with them it's easy. They just show up individually and they participate. They would stay in the room with another student, so it's 2 students per room, and everything's clear. So the question is, what do we do with the younger participants who have to come with parents? And so we made some arrangements, and the way it will work is the following. If you would like to participate, if you're younger than 18, you have to come with a parent. And we will allow the parent to also stay in the dormitory on campus and share the room with the student. But because we have to spend twice as much money, so when two people arrive instead of one, that means that we have to take one full room, not just half a room as it would be with the student. Likewise, we'll provide the food during the event. We'll provide all the other things. So it does cost money for us. So we have to charge more, but we decided to do it 50% off for the second person. So one person, when you attend as a student, you pay $800 something, but for the second person, it will be half price. Or alternatively, you can choose to live off campus in a hotel or maybe make a booking via Airbnb, in which case for you, for the first person, it will be cheaper by $200 because we don't have to pay for your hotel, for your dormitory now. So you pay less and use that difference, use that money to book your hotel, whichever one you want. In that area, you have some very cheap hotels where you can get a room for about $20 a night. And then there are some very expensive hotels where it would be like $200 a night. So you can find whatever suits your budget, and then just pay the rest so we can cover your printed materials, transportation, insurance, food, all that stuff. In that case, it's also perfectly fine, and that works quite well. And so we will be inviting some students. I'm working now on trying to raise some money to offer you travel stipends. But at this time, I still cannot confirm that I will be able to do so. So I will try to provide some support, but at this time, we operate under the assumption that everybody has to pay for their own travel expenses. At this time, I know we will be offering travel stipends to coaches. So we want to invite 14 coaches who will be helping us run the event, help distribute materials in the sessions, make sure that everybody gets on the bus, help students with the rehearsals. So basically, when you have a crowd of almost 200 people, you need supervisors. And so those supervisors will be getting travel stipends. We will have quite a few professors, and some of them are helping us organize the event. So those of them who are organizing the event, we will not pay them for their work, but we will pay for their travel, and we already budgeted for that, so we have that. But when it comes to students, I'm still not sure if I will have enough money in the budget to pay for your travel. So at this time, the assumption is that you have to pay for yourself. And if it goes well, and if we can raise some funds, then yes, I'll let you know, but for now, no promises. But in the invitation letters that you will be receiving today, literally today, you will have what we call a letter to sponsors. So there will be an invitation itself, but there will be also a separate document in that, a separate letter in that document that specifically is addressed to potential sponsors, like maybe your school or maybe the company where your parents work, or maybe, I don't know, just another company that may be willing to sponsor you. And it will explain why this event is very important for you, why it's good for you to attend it, and why they might want to help you financially. In the past, and we've done probably, I don't know how many symposia have we had, like 8 or 9 times probably. Pretty much every single student who attends gets some money. In most cases, the students would get money from their universities or from the employers. We also have had cases when the city officials, like city mayor, would pay for the students' travel. And so those letters do help. And so in the end, hardly anyone actually has to pay for their own travel. They would find sponsors, and those letters often help. So, but then again, we always try to give some scholarships as well. It just, as I said, at this time, I cannot promise anything. Yes, and so Fernando is asking if the invitations have been sent already. No, today. So we have the list, we have the text of the invitation, everything has been cleaned, but at this time we have not sent them yet, but they will go out today. And yes, younger students will be staying with parents. And so we have 2 dormitories. We have one dormitory for students and one for professors. And so the younger children will be staying in the dormitory for professors with their parents. And so you will have a separate room, you and your parent, or even if you would like to take both parents, you can share, whatever, you have a whole room to yourself. There will be 2 beds in the room, but if you would like to share the bed or add like an air bed or something, you can do that, whatever works.
Question?
Yes, go ahead, Danielle.
If it's actually me.
Oh, Michelle, sorry.
If my sister and I both get invited and we have to share a room with our mom, like...
Good question. Again, we will work on that. I think we can do it as +1. So since you will be sharing the room, I think we will be able to do it 1 full plus half for the other 2. It's a good question because normally nobody does +2. In your case, you sort of do +2. And I think we will be able to make those arrangements. Plus, your mom is a professor, right? And so we want her to be, we need more professors. So we would like to have 50 professors, but because the event is at the time right between, those of you who don't know, in our field, the 2 main conferences are the Academy of Management Conference and the Academy of International Business Conference. And they are almost back to back with our event. And all of us have to usually attend both the Academy of International Business and the Academy of Management conferences. And for most professors, it's hard to attend then a 3rd event in Italy. And so I kind of suspect that your mom probably will be going to AAB and AOM. And so, but in any case, we know that many professors cannot attend because of that conflict of timing. And so we're trying to attract as many professors as possible, mainly because we need them. You know, when you have so many young people on campus, you would like to have some adults to supervise them. So I'm sure we'll make some arrangements, but again, let me see what the final numbers look like, and then we'll work on that. But yes, if it's 3 people from one family, we will definitely be able to offer some sort of a discount, so you don't have to pay for each one separately. And yes, I think you will be able to share the room. So maybe 2 of the girls will stay in one bed and mom in the other, or maybe you'll bring some sort of like an air bed. So we'll try to make arrangements. I just need to talk to the professor from Italy. He knows better what the arrangements might look like. So, all right. Yeah, so I guess that's pretty much all we wanted to say. Yeah, and I guess, yeah. And any other questions, any other comments? All right, so then just to sum up what happens next. So 1, I'm trying to confirm the times for your live presentations for the clients, with the clients. And so we will probably have them either next weekend or a weekend after. And I'm now thinking maybe we will better do it weekend after so you have more time to prepare. So maybe by the next weekend you will do some preparation and we'll do a rehearsal. So you will try to do the presentation for me, and maybe we'll invite a few other professors and coaches, and they will provide you the feedback. And then a week after, you'll do the real presentation for the company. We will record it so that you have it also for your portfolio. And so you will do a nice presentation to impress them. And then at that same time, perhaps after you're done with the live presentation, we hope that you will also record an even cleaner, even nicer version, again, mainly for your portfolio, and send us the video. And then at the same time, as you're doing the presentations, also think about what you, as I said, have learned, what you would do differently, maybe even what advice you would give us as administrators of the program. So if you had to organize a program like this, would you do anything differently than what we did? Do you have any ideas for improving the project, Xculture? Or maybe you can give some advice to members of global virtual teams, or maybe to managers of global virtual teams. So if you had to manage a team like this, what would you do? So whatever you think you have learned, or whatever ideas you have had based on your participation in this project, put it in that paper. And so what I recommend you do is you spend the next week writing down all the ideas that you would like to put in the paper. And then once you have like 5, 10, 20 different observations, ideas, that's when you start writing full paper. And again, it doesn't have to be long. It can be something really short, but the nicer you make it, the better it looks, the more impressive it will look in your portfolio for the future. So therefore, I recommend that you have like a nice title page, and then maybe have a nice outline, and maybe even an abstract. So basically do it as if you are trying to publish that paper, not just an email to a professor, but as a nice professional looking report, so that you can be proudly displaying it, to people who may need to see it in the future. All right. So who is going to attend? So Danielle, Michelle, it sounds like you guys are planning to go to Italy, right?
Yeah.
So, Aelita, are you going to go? Do you know? And Fernando, are you planning to go? I know Maxim and Sophia are going.
Well, I might go if I'm invited, but I might ask my mom right now.
Mm-hmm. Have you applied? Because again, I haven't had a chance to see the applications. I remember Fernando was applying, right? Fernando, I think you did submit the application, didn't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know where the applications are.
So if you don't have the application, let me conclude with the link. So you would go to xculture.org, In fact,
Wait.
yeah, just a second. I'll show you. So don't worry about writing it down, but just to show you. So you would go to Global Symposium, and you click Macerata, Italy. And then at the bottom of this page, so you have all the information about the event, all of that stuff. And then at the bottom, you have students apply now and professors apply now. And even though we have past the deadline, so you're basically past the deadline now, but you can still try to apply. And I wonder why it takes me directly to the second page. I think I already started the application and it knows it. And so for that reason, it wouldn't. Let me just. Yeah. So anyway, I don't want to fill it out, but yeah, I probably was showing someone, so I started. But yeah, that's where you go. So I can send you the link right here in the comments. But then on top of that, where's the meeting? Stop sharing. But if you forget, you just go to xculture.org, click Symposium, and then click Italy. And so yes, with kids it's a little different. So with students, we have already like 500 applications, and we have only 150 spots. But you guys are a little different and special, so I think we should be able. I cannot guarantee that you will all be invited because I can only give you a recommendation, but the selections are made by a different committee. So there are several professors, at least like 5 professors, who look at the applications and makes those decisions. But we have with them a deal that kids will have a special attention because we would like you to have a nice group there. So if only one of you shows up, it will be no fun. So we would like to have several kids so you have a nice company there so that you can also participate together. And so it would be nice if, I know that Max and Sophia will be there. I know Fernando has applied, Michelle Ganiel. I think Adve applied, Harsh and Justin Raja, I believe, applied. So if most of you are accepted, so we may have a nice group of like 5 kids or maybe 6 kids. So in that case, it will be nice. You will be roughly the same age too. So most of you are like 11, 12, plus or minus a few years. So it would be a nice group. So, all right, but we'll talk about that. So those who applied, if you've been approved, you should be getting the letters today.
Excuse me, but there's this question, what's my highest degree attained? But I don't know if I have any of these degrees.
Right, so you just choose basically the lowest. What's the lowest there? High school? Oh,
I don't know.
Okay, that's a good point.
PhD or equivalent completed.
That's a good. So you know what? While we're doing that, let me actually. That's something I didn't account for.
Oh, so there's one. We did it, and there's one bachelor's degree in low or lower.
So it does say or lower. Let me just to Symposium. I'll actually change it right away because, as I said, yes. See, we have 988 applications. So we have at this time 988 student applications and 15 professor applications, but the actual number of professors is larger because many of them are involved in organizing the event, so they didn't have to apply. But yeah, we have quite a group, so I apologize in advance if not everyone is accepted because we have only 150 rooms or spots. And so as you can see, we'll have to say a lot of no's. But yes, let me very quickly look at the highest degree. Yeah, bachelor's or equivalent. Let me see if I can change that quickly so that it makes a little bit more sense.
So which one do I pick?
You choose the lowest one, bachelor or equivalent, but let me just...
Not graduated yet?
Yeah, I think that will be close enough. And again, don't worry about it because we know you. So that's basic information for me and the selection committee. And so when we know that you're a student, we will know that you're still in school. So no worries. So we'll recognize your names. So that's perfectly fine. No worries about that. So yeah, I think no need to change it. So we'll keep it as it is.
I have another question.
Just a second, or lower. Let's do it like this. And so when you refresh your application, it will show you the new. Yep. Okay. Oh, I was not sharing the screen, but yes, as I was talking to you, I actually did change the text there. So if you refresh the application, it should show a bachelor or lower. So that's basically yours.
I have a question.
Yes.
Since we're sisters, what if only I'm invited and my sister isn't?
I'm glad that you brought it up. I'll make sure that it's either both or neither so that we don't have this strange situation where it's only one. So I'm pretty confident that it will be okay. Don't worry about it. I just need to check the names. Did you guys submit your applications?
Yeah, we both submitted our application.
Okay. Yeah, let me check with the selection committee today. And yeah, I know Sophia is around because she has a competition today. Yeah, and I'll walk Bruno. Yeah. Wish Sophia good luck. She has a competition today. regional gymnastics competitions.
That's cool.
State, not regional. So it's a state competition. So it's North Carolina. So we'll see.
By the way, will you require a visa? Well, if we have like a passport, do we need a visa?
Well, you have to check about that and see if Italy requires visas for your country. You are from Ukraine, aren't you, Aelita?
Yep. Yes, I
So I
am.
think Ukrainians now don't need visas for the European Union. So I think you don't need it anymore. So
Okay, so I just say no?
you need to check for Ukraine. If I remember correctly, I don't know how it works with Ukrainian passports. Sure.
My mom says that they need a visa.
Passports.
My mom says that they need a visa.
Well, for Ukrainian passports, so starting January the 1st.
European Union approves visa-free travel for Ukraine.
Right, but I think there is one exception. I think, if I remember correctly, and maybe Mr. Leskin knows, you now have two different types of passports. You have the old passports and you have the new biometric passports, as they call
Yeah,
them.
we have a biometric.
Yeah, and if you have the biometric passport, then I don't think you need a visa. But if you still have the old passport, you may be required.
Exactly. Mhm.
Okay, so I'm gonna say no.
Yeah, but for me, visa, it's more, frankly, it's not that important. What you say there, it's more to remind you that you need to check that. And so you might want to go and check online just to be absolutely sure. So I'm
Okay.
not 100% sure about that. I know that when we have conferences internationally, sometimes I don't need any visa. Sometimes I can buy the visa right at the entrance. And sometimes I need to apply in advance. So like, for example, I travel with a Canadian passport. And so usually I don't need a visa, but I was in China not so long ago. And strangely enough, Canadian citizens need to get a visa for China. So I actually had to apply beforehand, but it's a very easy process. And then the United Arab Emirates, for example, you sort of need a visa, but they say you apply upon arrival. And so you arrive in the country, and I'm like, so where do you apply for the visa? And they just look in your passport and say, boom, that's your visa, please go. So it takes like 10 seconds. But then again, some countries may be much, much more, demanding. So please check in advance, because that may be an important issue. We had a conference last year, as you know, in the United States, and one of the problems we encountered was that about 20 students didn't get American visas. And so we had that problem because they applied, they were approved. Some of them even found the money to pay for the travel, and then boom, they couldn't get the visa. And so that was quite unpleasant, but I hope Italy is a little bit more relaxed when it comes to visa requirements.
Does it say in xculture.org when we're going?
Well, yes, you have all the dates right there on top of the page. So it's July 29, August 4.
July 29.
August 4. Yes, Fernando. Yes.
The reports are reviewed like the group work or individually?
What is reviewed again? I missed the first part.
The reports are reviewed
As a group, yes. So the team reports, yes, you will get a grade as a group. Yes. We did get so we know who did what, because on the title page, you probably put who was responsible for what. And so for you guys, I don't think it will matter, but at some universities, the professors want to know what part their students did. So sometimes they would try to also give a separate individual grade, but yes, they are reviewed as a group. So
By the way, there's this, if your university, what if I go like to school? Did I not fill this in?
No, yeah. So if there is a question that you don't know how to answer, just skip it. So as I said, with kids, we didn't create a separate application form. And so, yes, some of the questions may seem a little strange. So you can just skip, like, for example, if it asks what university you study at, you just basically keep it empty. And then I think it gives you another field where you can just type in the name of the school that you go to. And in American English, a school, that's both like a school, but also a university. So it's a universal word. So you just put the name of the school that you go to, like you put like.
And my mom's just like really unexperienced, so she's asking how much money should we pay or do we not pay?
So the registration itself is $800 and I believe $95, and that will cover all your expenses while you're in Italy. So it will cover your hotel lodging for 6 nights, all your food. It will cover the transportation to the events that we will be attending. So we will have like 3 company visits, and then we'll have meetings with the city mayor, and then we will go to the
895 what?
dollars. So all of that will cover all your expenses while you are in Italy. And then on top of that, you have to buy your tickets to Italy. So that may be depending on the distance that you have to travel from the United States. It may be another $1,000. From Ukraine, it may be another $200. So depending on how far you have to travel. But yeah, the whole thing will probably be a little bit more than $1,000 total. So yeah. And as I said, if you have to bring your parent, in your case, you have to, it will be half price for the second person. So if it's +1, like for example, also some professors come with their spouses. Like we have several professors who would like to bring their husbands and wives too. So they would like to use it as a travel opportunity, like a vacation opportunity. So we will provide those arrangements. So they would have to pay half price for the second person. So. Just to give you an idea, so some people ask, why is it so expensive? The reason it's so expensive because it does cost a lot to organize an event like this. So nobody will be paid as far as salary, but we will have to pay obviously for the hotel, for the dormitories. They're not free, so we have to pay for the access because somebody has to provide bed sheets and whatever else, clean the rooms. And so that obviously costs money to the university, so they charge us. Then food, so usually to eat like breakfast or lunch or dinner, breakfast and lunch probably cost us about $10 per person, but then dinner is more expensive. Then transportation, so we will be paying about $60,000 for the buses to go to all those events. Then, like for example, one thing that I did not expect at all, but turns out it will be an expense. So when students are registering, they will be using, in most cases, credit cards or pay via the bank transfer. And so each time we receive a payment by credit card or via bank transfer, we pay, so the bank takes about 3% for the transaction. And so on the amount of money that we have, that's about like $40 out of $895. And so if you count that we have about 150 students and 200 professors, so it's like 200 registrations, we'll pay $8,000 just for the processing fees. So each time when we get the money, we lose a little portion. And when you add up all those portions for all the people who register, it will come up to about $8,000 that we'll just have to pay for the processing fees. And then obviously, as I said, insurance, we have to buy it in case somebody, gets sick or slips or breaks something. Obviously, we need the insurance so that we don't have to pay for that out of our own pocket. And then, printing materials and certificates and, all the programs. And then you all will get like t-shirts and stuff. So all of that costs money. And then on top of that, so as I said, it's quite a few people who are organizing this event. So with the coaches and professors, it's about 20 people who are heavily involved in organizing it. So who have been spending now a lot of time and will spend even more. We will not pay them. So we will not offer them, like payments for work. But we at least try to pay for their travel. And so that will be close to $1,000 per person. So we'll have to put aside about $20,000 for them. So things like that. And so with all of that, obviously it adds up. And so that becomes roughly what we charge. We did add a little bit on top of the charge. So I think the actual real cost per person is more like $800. And then we added a few more just for emergencies, just in case, something goes wrong and we have to make some extra, spending. So we have that budget. And then on top of that, obviously, we need to save just a little bit in the end because there are always 2 people who are preparing this event for the next year. So we have 1 student and 1 professor who work basically for the whole year preparing the next event. And so the professor works basically for free, but the student needs to get a little salary so that she can spend her time on this event. And so we're trying in the end, if everything goes fine, save just enough money to be able to keep that student on the payroll as we're preparing. And so that's why some people, when they look at the amount, they say, oh, I know that you can find a hotel for cheaper, or I know you can find food for cheaper. Well, it's a little bit more than just the hotel and the food. And when it's a group, when it's an organized event, it's not always possible just to find the cheapest room and say, okay, that's the price. So that's why that's the amount of money that we have to charge. And as I said, in the end, it's, should be enough. And even hopefully we'll be able to save a little bit in the end so that we can keep that student on the payroll to prepare the next event in 2019, which, by the way, will be in Canada. So it will be in Calgary in Canada a year later. Yes. Aelita, yeah, so I see your question. So no, the price is $895, and that will cover all your expenses in Italy, and on top of that, you add whatever it costs you to get to Italy. So I know that within Europe, if you fly, you can probably get tickets for like $100 or so. If you drive, again, whatever the gas will cost. So for someone from Europe, probably the total price will be closer to $1,000. So that registration and plus the travel. If you fly from Asia, from Australia, from the United States, the tickets will probably cost another $1,000 per person or so. So those people will be paying closer to $2,000 total. So the prices are on the website for the registration, which covers all your expenses while you're in Italy, but you have to find how much exactly the tickets will cost for you and add that to the mix. And then again, if anyone needs to apply for a visa, that's another, it may cost some extra money. So they have to add that as well, obviously. So, make sense? All right, so then I'll see you next weekend, and I'll send you some more information by email so you can prepare. And yeah, let's see how it goes. Yeah, for you it wouldn't matter. So for university students, we're also allowed to attend symposium as a university course, in which case they will have to do a little bit more work, but they can also get university credit. But then at that same time, they would have to also pay for the course at the university. So for them, it will cost a little extra, but I don't think for you that's an option. So I'm not going to bother you with that part. All right, well, good job. So glad that you were able to submit your reports. I know it was hard, but hopefully it was worth it. And yeah, let's power through the remaining 4 weeks, and then we'll have a big celebration, and hopefully we'll see you in Italy. Okay, all right. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.